5 News This Morning starts now.
Well, thanks so much for joining us here on 5 News This Morning Plus. I'm Joe Ellison.
And I'm Tiffany Lee. Coming up this morning, a beloved community landmark in Springdale is scheduled to get some big changes. And we'll have more on Springdale's Jones Center, its rebrand, and my leaders there are saying it's a perfect time to roll out those changes.
We'll have a guest, Sarah Greenbank, live in studio to give us some tips to help high school seniors and parents get a jump start on preparing for college. Taking a live look over Fayetteville Square this morning. Good morning. Thanks so much for joining us. Feel like we're off to a good start, a little bit of a rocky start this morning, but I guess the weather's nothing to complain
there was to
about.
say, no weather impact alert. No, it's
Right.
going to be nice out there. It's warm. It's going to feel nicer than it did yesterday. But yeah, it is going to be a little bit of a muggy one out there. So
Okay.
here we go. Let's see. They allowed me my walking. Yeah, I was going to say my little pageant wave, my Tiffany Lee flow here. They allowed me privileges back. I think after that, though, Glory might revoke those privileges. The Chiefs in there. Yeah, well, we'll talk about it after the show. Anyway, right now you're seeing plenty of that blue sky out there as the sun rising on this Thursday morning. You can see maybe a few thin clouds out there on the horizon. Otherwise, a nice start to our day. Temperatures, as you notice, are in the upper 60s and low 70s. It is a little bit cooler than it is at this time yesterday, at least in some spots. But in eastern Oklahoma, it's actually a little bit warmer due to the fact that we had a little bit of cooler air kind of rushed into eastern Oklahoma yesterday. Otherwise, River Valley about the same. Eastern River Valley a little bit cooler. Northwest Arkansas again 2 to 3 degrees. And that's because the dew points are a little bit lower in some of those areas. You can see again 2 to 3 degrees. Remember, when the dew point is lower, that allows the temperature to be lower. That's why desert sometimes it's so dry. It actually can get kind of cool overnight. Same principle applies here. Obviously, we're not as warm as a desert, but the same principle does apply here. Otherwise, right now you can see some thin cloud cover. It's pretty quiet across the region. We'll continue to see plenty of sunshine as we go throughout the day today, but some clouds will build in. So as you're heading out to the bus stop, again, a little bit muggy, maybe some patchy fog in some areas. Otherwise, we'll see that sunshine. By recess or lunchtime, we'll be in the 80s. So again, not as hot, not as humid as it was yesterday, but still pretty warm nonetheless. And as you're heading home, it'll be a little bit on the hotter side. High temperatures in the upper 80s and low 90s. Could feel like close to 100 in the River Valley, maybe the mid 90s. In northwest Arkansas. Breaking it down a little bit further hour by hour, you're going to see that, yeah, maybe a stray shower chance. It's really only 10%. Vast majority of it stay dry. We'll see maybe that kind of brief shower where it kind of downpours for 20 minutes and then dissipates. But many of us are going to be like, what rain are you talking about? So high temperatures for the River Valley again will be in the low to mid 90s, but we won't be seeing the 90s after next week and maybe for the rest of August. We'll talk more about that here coming up in your full forecast. But now take a live look at traffic on this Thursday morning. Take a live look along I-49 at Walton Boulevard in the Bentonville area. Good morning to you there. And no incidents reported so far on this Thursday. I had that AC handy, maybe a little bit of extra fluids, but again, it's going to feel very nice come next week. Talk more about that coming up in your full forecast. Joe and Tiffany.
All right, thanks for that, Danny. Well, UAMS program working to improve healthcare access in rural and underserved areas just received a $1.3 million grant to expand digital health services.
5 News reporter Jacob Luthi is live in Fayetteville. And Jacob, what are some ways that the Resource Center helps providers expand their digital health services? Good morning.
Yeah, Tiffany, good morning. Good morning, Joe. So really what this does is they work with local healthcare providers to expand their digital health services. So for providers, let's go for the provider front first, right? What they do is they have tutorials online, they have modules, they do in-person phone calls. They really speak with these providers to try to figure out what it is that they need so that they can best address their patients' needs. And they also have patient information as well, right? Maybe you're a patient who has never done a telehealth visit before. Maybe you're a little bit confused about what it means to speak with the doctor, maybe over the phone or in video instead of being right in front of them, right? So they have, what documents you might need to have in front of you, what questions you might want to ask. That's another thing that a lot of people forget is what exactly am I looking for when I'm speaking with my doctor? So they provide all those resources to both the patients and the healthcare providers as well so that they can best serve their community that may not be in the doctor's office.
Well, Jacob, how does the Resource Center make sure that they're offering the best advice for certain healthcare provider clientele?
Yeah, I kind of mentioned that before, right? The needs of maybe, let's say, a doctor's office in Fayetteville might be a little bit different than, a primary care physician in Boonville, right? There's different types of communities that these local physicians serve. So what they do, and I mentioned it a second ago, they have these phone calls, these initial phone calls with these providers, and they figure out, what kind of clients are we looking at? What kind of pre-existing conditions exist with these clients? And they really gear their messaging and their tutorials specifically for these healthcare providers in different regions. So again, you're best serving the patients in your specific area.
All right, thanks for that, Jacob. We sure appreciate it. All right, this morning we're sort of celebrating National Seniors Day in a pretty big way, right? It's just to appreciate the contributions of older adults. Well, this evening we're going to go to Valley Springs in Van Buren, where they hold a yearly pageant for their clients. This is last year, the winner Mary there. And your 5 News This Morning anchors, Tiffany, me, Danny, we're all going to be there. We're going to be judges for the pageant, and it's a great time.
Oh yeah, we are so excited. I have a feeling it's going to be really hard to pick a winner.
I think
You're
so.
going to want to put 10s across the board. How'd you do it, Joe?
I mean, I don't know. You just kind of give the scores and you let the numbers do the work. But I'm telling you, it's hard because you just want to write, 10 every single time.
I know, but you have to be a fair judge, right?
Well, we're going to be there. It's going to be your first time. You're going to have a great time. You're going to love it there.
I was going to say, it's going to be a blast.
have you ever been to a
absolutely.
pageant before, Danny?
I cannot say I have, no.
Well, you're going to love this one. And make sure you tune in tomorrow because we'll let you know how it all went and show you the winner of the Valley Springs pageant.
Can't wait to see. Well, at the Jones Center, big changes are happening. The Springdale Center launched new branding today, complete with an updated logo. Leaders say that it's about more than a new look, with the announcement of future plans, including new community partnerships, programs, and facility upgrades.
And the Razorbacks athletic department has implemented a new policy for fans who rush the field. Now they'll do this. 3 minutes will get put up on the scoreboards for the visiting team to exit the field before fans can rush it. Now you'll remember the Razorbacks, they were fined $250,000 during last season after a field rush following an upset win over Tennessee. It's kind of expected, yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. And you know what? I'm glad they're thinking about the other team, giving them 3 minutes and still letting us rush the field if
There we go.
necessary.
Because I don't know if you could take it away completely.
You can't. You can't control people.
All right, and in the Daily Brew coming up, we'll be discussing a new Buc-ee's. That's right, this time inside of a university.
And new slang has been added to the dictionary. It's causing quite the stir on social media. We'll have more on that and more after the break. But first, a live look over Fort Smith this morning. Good morning to you there. Stay with us. Welcome back. We are joined this morning by Sarah Greenbank, the Director of Student Success at Arkansas Connections Academy. She's here to give us some great information this morning.
Yeah, she's here to help us kind of decide high school seniors and parents, how can they get ready for obviously the end of senior year. I know it just started, so that sounds like a crazy question to ask, but how they can prepare for college. So what are some ways that seniors can right now start preparing for college?
Yeah, so right now you're going to want to start looking at the colleges you're interested in, looking to see what kinds of degree programs they have, and find some options. And then you're going to want to start looking at those enrollment requirements for those colleges. Some schools are going to want you to have taken a foreign language, or they want you to have certain scores on placement tests. So you're going to need to know what kind of tests you need to take, what kind of courses you need to make sure that you've had to get prepared for those applications.
And so once you've been accepted, all of that's done, a big part, scholarships. How do people find those scholarships and how do they apply for them? I know that was something that was really hard. I was an only child, so we had no clue what we were doing. And the only one we really knew about was FAFSA.
Right. So in addition to filling out the FAFSA and looking for government aid, there is the Arkansas Department of Higher Education, ADHE, has a website, the Scholarship Management System, Scholarship Application Management System, and that has where you can apply for all the different scholarships that are available through the state of Arkansas. Some other great opportunities to look for scholarships is if a student is employed or through their parent's employer. A lot of employers offer scholarship programs for employees and their students. Lots of companies also offer scholarship opportunities. Walmart has a community scholarship. Coca-Cola has a community scholarship that students can go on those websites and look for those opportunities and apply.
And for students who maybe struggle a little bit more in school, maybe they don't have the 4.0, but they've worked really hard. I think sometimes people get discouraged and think there isn't a scholarship for them because they don't have that perfect GPA. What would you say to them to kind of encourage them? There are still scholarships that you can apply for and that you can find.
Yeah, definitely there are. And so a lot of times I would encourage them to go to the financial aid office at their college because that is where you're going to find some of those more specific to your program of study. And so a lot of times students will be able to find those kinds of scholarships. Also, you know, looking throughout the community, if you are involved in any kind of community organization or activity or even a church, a lot of times those offer scholarships as well.
What is that like? Yeah. Obviously you work with a lot of seniors and parents, so like what is that top question you get over and over again when they start this process?
I think that one of the biggest questions is about financial aid because we're all worried about how are we going to pay for school. A lot of things too are, you know, what does my student need to be prepared, you know, for college life? We always want to encourage students to build those independent living skills, you know, open a banking account and start doing your own banking and kind of look at all of the campus life services that are available on campus and kind of navigate how you're going to use that so you can be really prepared when you get there.
And as people are preparing, getting ready to go, also applying for those scholarships, what would you say is the biggest thing people look for when going through those scholarship applications?
Yeah, so it just kind of depends on the kind of scholarship and what the eligibility requirements are for the scholarship. A lot of times you're going to need to write an essay or something like that. It's good to kind of have those things already prepared, like thinking about if I was asked to write an essay about something that has, you know, been difficult for me to overcome or, you know, something like that. Have those kind of things kind of in your back pocket already so that you're ready and prepared for those essays. Doing extracurricular activities and participating in things outside of just school also kind of sets you apart, not only for scholarships, but on your college applications as well.
Awesome. When it comes to kids starting that process, what are some things they should look for when they're thinking about what the college is that they're going to choose?
Yeah, so I think that you're going to want to look at, again, what do you want to study? What do you want to do? And I think more so than just what are you interested in studying, but like what kind of a career is that going to allow you, you know, when you have that degree or that study under your belt. I think that that's one of the important things to consider. I think it's also important to consider what the campus life is going to be like. Is it a big school? Is it a small school? How does the student feel about being at a large university, rather than a smaller college, campus? So those are some of the things that I think students should consider too when they're picking a school.
And how important would you say, because I always wanted to go to the U of A, loved the Razorbacks, but I realized that a smaller school is better for me when I stayed both places for a weekend. So how important would you say it is for students to do those campus visits, maybe even overnights if they have friends at those universities?
Yeah, I think that that's really important, and I think that that's a really great opportunity for students to be able to kind of see what campus life is going to be like, because, not every university is going to be a great fit for every student, and so I do think that it is important for students to kind of get a feel for it and get a taste of it, because if they're not comfortable on that campus, then they're probably not going to be able to be successful as a student.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sarah. We'll have more from Sarah.
Prepared.
Yeah. You ready to go to college?
Yeah, I'm ready.
We'll have more from Sarah in just a few minutes, but first let's go ahead and go to that weather with Danny Cassidy.
Yeah, of course. It is looking a little bit foggy out there in some areas, especially along I-49 at exit 58. You can see a little bit of fog in the area. So again, if you're in southern Washington counties, be mindful of a little bit of low-lying fog, especially again if you're in any valleys. You can see some of that form as you're heading out the door. Otherwise, you can see in the River Valley, much of the area looks pretty quiet, and you see plenty of blue sky there. A few thin clouds out there in Fort Smith. Live look along Rogers Avenue. Currently in Fort Smith, it is 75 degrees. The dew point is 71, so it is a little muggy out there. Not too bad, but a little muggy. And we're kind of slowly decreasing the humidity over the next few days. And eventually, we'll see those dew points drop into the low to mid 60s by the end of the weekend. Overall for today, not too shabby. Upper 80s and low 90s in northwest Arkansas, low to mid 90s in the River Valley. You see, it's pretty close where we should be this time of year. Some clouds will build in during the afternoon, and we'll have a light northeast wind, maybe funneling a brief shower or two. But the bigger story is going to be the steady warmth over the next few days, really throughout the weekend. Feel close to 100 in the River Valley, maybe the mid 90s in northwest Arkansas, but we'll feel less than 90 on Monday. The cold front's going to sweep through Saturday night into Sunday, and then we'll feel the full effects of it on Monday. Dew points are going to gradually decrease, as I mentioned, over the next 5 days. Right now, they're in the upper 60s and low 70s, and we'll see that eventually get into the low to mid 60s by Monday, maybe even the upper 50s. So it is going to feel much nicer out there, not only with the temperatures, but the humidity as well. Right now, we're pretty quiet. Getting a little bit of that patchy fog, especially in areas of southern Washington County. But as you look kind of zooming out, big picture, it is just very dry across the center of the country. We have that cold front that moved through the other day, and now we have that Hurricane Aaron along the Atlantic seaboard that's continuing to move to the northeast. So really all we've got here is, well, pretty dry conditions. Let's see if I can spell this out. We're going to get to the D, to the R. The Y could be, yep, I knew the Y was going to be a problem. But yeah, basically the dry is kind of circling. It kind of made my story correct because, yeah, it's just dry in the center of the country, and it's really going to be dry here for us as we go through the next 4 days. Jonan, my producer, appreciate it. Thank you, Jonan. So as we go through the rest of the morning, or maybe he's just laughing at me. He's probably just laughing at me. So we go through the afternoon hours, you're going to see rain chances. He's not. He's laughing with me. Thank you, Jonan. We're seeing those light rain chances just off to our southwest. So the story here is that we maybe could see some stray showers through the area. You can see very, very sparse, even more sparse than it was yesterday. Could still see that brief downpour. Still could see that breezy wind at times. But again, most of us are going to stay dry. That'll continue through the night hours here, and then by tomorrow morning, we'll wake up maybe to some patchy fog. You see this green here. I think that's just more of the patchy fog that's got to be picked up. So again, for the most part, we're going to stay rather dry. Otherwise, through the next 7 days, here's the bigger story. High temperatures are going to remain, again, pretty steady in the low to mid 90s, but the dew points are going to be lower, and you notice that with the low temperatures, whenever those are a little bit lower, the humidity is a little bit lower. Then there comes that temperature drop Sunday into Monday. Storm chances pick up as well. We'll enter a northwest flow. So basically what that'll mean is that Monday night into Tuesday, we'll see our best storm chance. That'll continue into the day on Wednesday. So again, as we're going through the rest of the week, we're going to be noticing very nice conditions for us here. And into the River Valley, we're going to be seeing high temperatures more into the upper 70s and low 80s there on Tuesday and Wednesday. And those rain chances are something we really desperately need because we haven't seen at least good rainfall for quite a while, widespread rainfall for quite a while. So not only are those temperatures going to be lower, but the humidity is going to be lower, and those rain chances are going to be elevated.
All right, well, students at Texas A&M won't need to take a road trip to get their Buc-ee's cravings.
Wait a minute. So I know they're getting a new one, but we haven't even got ours satisfied here in Arkansas.
I know. Well, the one's coming to Benton, but we need one in Northwest Arkansas because Benton's a 3-hour drive, which is home for me, so I don't mind visiting. My in-laws live there. But still, we've got
the
to
rest
go
of
all
us
the way
need
there.
a Buc-ee fix.
I know. We need to go there when it's built. But Texas A&M is the first university in the nation to bring Buc-ee's to campus. It makes me wonder if the Buc-ee's owners went to A&M. So the deal
because Buc-ee's originated out of Texas, right?
Yes, it did. So I'm wondering if they went to A&M. Obviously, they're A&M fans over Longhorn fans, or it'd be there, and that's a big rivalry.
Yeah.
So this is the only spot outside of Buc-ee's travel centers where fans can grab the chain's famous snack. So I guess it's not going to be the full-on thing, but it will be just the Buc-ee snacks, which, if you ask me, are the best part of it all. Oh, that's right. The alum. He's an alum.
Hey,
the
there we
founder
go.
of Buc-ee's.
That is why. And I bet you these students probably losing their mind for Buc-ee's. I want to see what a mini Buc-ee's looks like, because it's got to be mini, right?
As long as they have the jalapeno honey jerky, the brisket sandwiches, and the brisket breakfast burritos. That's all you need in life.
Okay.
And they have this peanut butter chip like trail mix.
Yeah.
So good. Reese's Pieces, peanut butter chips, and the little beaver nuggets.
We may, because we've been talking about college today, maybe, I mean, there's some students out there like, I'm going to go to Texas A&M because they got a Buc-ee's.
I don't know about that, Joe. We are in Razorback country, but you can
true.
definitely go and visit your friends at A&M and get it. But I'm telling y'all, Buc-ee snacks are the best. I went a few months ago, and you have to stock up when you're there.
Yeah.
I called my husband, and I was like, don't be alarmed. We did not get our card stolen. I did just spend $80 at Buc-ee's.
Just 80? I'm surprised it wasn't triple that.
I bought like 7 things of jerky and I think a breakfast burrito. So good.
All right, well, we're excited to try it when it comes here to Arkansas. Let's talk about this. The Oxford Dictionary, they've added 6,000 new words to the English language. And, you know, that's because the younger generation, they come up with all kinds of things, right?
They do, and I want to know what's in there.
All right, skibbity is just one of the most nonsensical words added, which means
And
cool.
Delulu.
Cool or bad, and then delulu, meaning delusional. You're delulu.
I knew that one.
And then bro. Oh, this
I
one's
don't even know how
hard.
to say that.
Brolarchy, which is referring to the rich and powerful people in tech who wield political influence. And I feel like I've heard most of these words.
I've heard Delulu, and that's about it.
Yeah.
See, my question is, delusional's already in the dictionary. It means the same thing.
Right, but we're shortening it down to
Delulu.
delulu.
Danny, you're Delulu.
Well, it's like they added, I think they added Riz the other year in the dictionary. That's just charisma. We don't need to, yeah.
Danny's on his soapbox.
I feel like an old head, but I don't understand. I know there's slang, and I know I love like rad, and like that's gnarly. Like shredding the gnar, I love that stuff.
Well, people like saying Riz.
We don't need to add it to the dictionary.
Why not?
I mean, the folks at Oxford, maybe they're just trying to get with the younger generation too. I don't know. I just don't get it.
Maybe they're trying, in all reality, when's the last time anyone picked up a dictionary? Maybe they're trying to get people interested in dictionaries again.
I don't know. Apparently they have just like, the words have staying power, which I see how if it's around long enough, they're going to add it. I mean, new words can be invented. Why not?
I know, but skibbity, I hope no one says that word in 5 years. I hope that's.
I've never even heard it.
Skibbity dibbity doo. That's what.
I mean, some of these, like, I'm only 25. Some of these I've never heard of.
Yeah.
I've never heard skibbity.
Oh, goodness.
We're old now.
I was going to say, geez.
All right, check
Anyway.
this out. We talked recently about a woman finding a diamond here in Arkansas at the Crater State Park, right?
Yes.
It was a 2.3 carat diamond.
Yeah,
Well,
I'd rather have this one.
this one was in Dubai. It was recovered a $25 million pink diamond.
What a dream.
Now,
But it was stolen.
But
this
it's
one,
pink.
yeah, this one was stolen in an elaborate heist, okay? So
That would have looked great on my ring.
they got away with this 21 carat diamond
Oh my.
by posing as wealthy dealers for a prospective buyer.
21 carats, how could you even lift your hand? That thing would be heavy.
I mean, I'll find a way.
I'll find a way too. And it's pink. It gets even better. I want to see it.
Oh, and they
How do
got-
we really see it?
They did
Yeah.
get them.
Yeah,
did
they
get
tracked
the
them
thieves.
down.
They did, and they arrested them. I want to know how long they're doing the time for that.
That's probably grand larceny, probably at least 10, 20 years.
Yeah, but I
$25
mean,
million
we're talking about
too.
Dubai, so it's probably a little different there, right? Who knows what?
Probably life.
Yeah.
This is a 5 News Update.
Good morning, I'm 5 News meteorologist Danny Cassidy. We are going to be seeing a very nice day today. A little bit still on the warmer side, but still pretty nice overall. High temperatures in the upper 80s and low 90s in northwest Arkansas, low to mid 90s in the River Valley. We'll have plenty of sunshine this morning. Then during the afternoon, we'll see a few clouds bubble in. We'll have a light northeast wind around 5 to 10. Maybe a very stray shower, but the vast majority of us are going to stay dry. This heat is going to stay pretty steady as we go through the next 5 days. Notice that or the next 4 days, I should say, that feels like will be close to 100 in the River Valley and in northwest Arkansas, anywhere from the low to mid 90s. Then on Sunday, we're going to see a cold front sweep through, and we won't feel the effects until Monday, where that feels like we'll drop below 90 for many areas. Some maybe in northwest Arkansas close to around 80. It should basically feel what the temperature is out there. And one of the bigger reasons too is that dew point is going to continue to decrease as we go through the next 5 days, anywhere from the upper 60s and low 70s today down to as low as the upper 50s and low 60s on Monday. So again, it's going to be a gradual decrease. We're going to slowly but surely see it diminish, but it is going to feel a lot nicer on here, not only with the temperatures, but that dew point as well. Right now, we're seeing pretty quiet conditions. Again, a few thin clouds out there. Otherwise, we're going to be very quiet for today. And that's just because really in the middle of the country, not a whole lot's going on. That cold front that moved through the other day is now moving off to the south and to the east. Off to our west, we have Hurricane Aaron. So what are we going to see for us? Well, maybe a couple of stray showers. We'll see that here in future casts. Otherwise, we'll see some patchy fog this morning. Then as we head towards the afternoon, you can see a couple of these stray showers popping up. Maybe you can see that brief downpour, maybe that breezy wind at time. But again, nothing severe is expected, and the vast majority of us are going to stay dry. Hey, if you're watching us over on CBS, we're streaming every morning from 7 to 8 on 5 News Plus, 5 This Morning Plus. Join the whole crew for the next half hour of news, weather, and traffic coming up in just a few minutes.
Five News This Morning starts now.
Well, thank you for joining us here this morning on 5 News This Morning Plus. I'm Joe Ellison.
And I'm Tiffany Lee. Coming up today, a development proposal in Benton County is raising concerns for nearby residents. How a proposed 85-acre subdivision could impact residents, bald eagles, and bobcats alike.
And 5 News reporter Jacob Luthi will join us live at UAMS in Fayetteville, where the hospital just received a $1 million grant to improve digital and telehealth services in Arkansas. We'll have more on how this impacts patients.
Well, here's a live look out in Fort Smith this morning. Good morning to you there. 7:30 on this Thursday. A beautiful day, sunshiny. And Danny, we don't want it to be too hot. What can you do about it?
Well, I'm going to try my best to see the next couple of days if I can bring it down. It's going to take me a few days for this to process. It's like 3 to 4 business days. And then finally I can get the heat to go down.
That's like shipping.
I know.
Takes a minute.
As long as it's not like actual shipping where it takes a little longer.
But then when you say 3 to 4 business days, it's always more like 5 to 8. So
Well, that's true.
Weekends aren't included, Joe.
That's true. Well, Mother Nature actually is a 24/7 operation. So business days, I shouldn't say business, they're just 3 to 4 days overall.
Okay.
So
There
a little
Thank
bit
you.
of a different scale. We'll talk about what's going on up there right now. You can see in downtown Fayetteville, 67 degrees. It says cloudy because the sensor in the south port of Fayetteville near Drake Field is picking up some fog. It is seeing plenty of sunshine though otherwise, but those in the southern portion of Washington County, northern portion of Crawford County, especially any low-lying areas, is seeing a little bit of fog out there. Another live look here in Poto, 73 degrees, that dew point at 70. So again, a little bit sticky out there. Not as bad as it's been recently, but still a little muggy nonetheless. Compared to this time yesterday for the temperatures, about the same in the River Valley, maybe a couple degrees warmer there in Poto, a couple degrees cooler there in the River Valley, and again, a couple degrees cooler in northwest Arkansas. That's going to be the theme for the feels like, at least over the next couple of days. It's going to feel a couple degrees cooler every single day because the dew point is going to drop gradually every single day. So this 2 to 3 degree drop for that dew point from this time yesterday, that's going to be the same for tomorrow as well. And we'll probably see this 2 to 3 drop again through the day on Sunday. Live look at satellite and radar. You can see not a whole lot going on right now, maybe in a little bit of patchy fog. Otherwise, some thin cloud covers just kind of hanging around for us as you're heading out to the bus stop. If you still haven't headed off to school yet, it's going to be a little bit sticky. Temperatures around 70 or in the lower 70s, especially in northwest Arkansas. It'll be warm by recess. Temperatures in the 80s or by lunchtime. And then by the time you're heading home, highs will be in the low to mid 90s. And then we'll see maybe a few of those stray showers. But don't put too much kind of stress into it. It's really only a 10% chance, and the vast majority of us, I do think, stay dry. But again, we can't absolutely rule out that brief downpour from about 20 to 30 minutes and then dissipating. I think really all of us, or nearly all of us, are going to stay dry. Now, overall, again, it's going to be less humid. We are going to be staying warm, though, through the weekend. High temperatures are still going to be above normal in the low to mid 90s. But then, thankfully, a bigger cold front is moving in, and we're not talking about a couple degrees. We'll see high temperatures drop about 10 degrees from Sunday to Monday. And not only that, we're going to see better rain chances return, especially early next week. So we'll talk about all of these three things here coming up in your full forecast. For now, we'll take a live look at traffic on this Thursday morning. Take a live look along I-49, the Highway 612 interchange. Good morning to you there. No incidents report so far on this Thursday morning. And maybe just have a little extra water in that water bottle because it's still going to be a little bit warm. Well, the full forecast is going to be coming up in just about 15 minutes. Joe and Tiffany.
Thanks for that, Danny. Well, in our continuing coverage this morning, 2 parents in Russellville have been accused of torturing their 7-year-old son and now face attempted capital murder charges. Chris and Caitlin Freeman were also charged with evidence tampering, kidnapping, and endangering the welfare of a minor. Russellville police began the investigation when the child was airlifted to a hospital for severe malnutrition. Police say that he is in stable condition, but still has a long road to recovery ahead. The 7-year-old boy weighed only 28 pounds. According to hospital staff, they are expected in court for a pretrial hearing on September 29th.
And the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigations is now examining a deadly LaFleur County house fire that happened on Monday, deeming the 2 deaths suspicious. The OSBI identified the victims as Dennis and Betty Beeson. The investigation is ongoing, and anyone with information is asked to contact the OSBI tip line.
In Dardanelle this morning, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineer crews are working to repair a spillway gate that's stuck open on the dam. According to officials, the gate was stuck Wednesday night after it was open for routine maintenance. The gate remains fully open, and teams are working to close the gate still. Now, the Corps is working to manage water flows with hydropower generators to ensure that adequate water supply for Arkansas Nuclear 1. And the Benton County Planning Board voted to move forward with the new subdivision development. Despite resident concern, according to them, the project could potentially disrupt an entire ecosystem. 5 News reporter Lauren Spencer has the latest.
My wife told me, she said, we can't live here no longer if this happens. You know, we moved out to the country for a reason.
Chad Moore has lived on his property near Fruitwood Road for 11 years.
It's a beautiful place as of right now. Until this subdivision comes in, it's terrible.
That's all about to change. The landowner is taking the 85 acres and putting 24 homes on it with 3 acres each.
And in the end, they're going to look back and realize that the only thing that we did was increase their property values and build a very nice community.
Residents say this could impact their way of life out here in rural Benton County, as well as the infrastructure couldn't handle it. But it could also impact a bald eagle nesting site on the property.
I videoed personally probably over 100 bald eagles. I've never seen this in my life, but circling above, just flying.
Bald eagles, bobcats, bears, and owls. Chad says he's seen them all near his property. The landowner says differently.
I've seen no nests, no signs of a nest. You know, I mean, eagles' nests are, I don't know if anybody knows this, they're like minimum a 6-foot diameter, up to 15, 20-foot diameter. They're huge. They're unmistakable.
With runoff into the nearby creek and erosion to the land, Chad says he believes the project will forever change the place he calls home.
They really don't care. They just want to put in money or put in these subdivisions to make more money, and not thinking about the country life, the habitat, all of the animals.
In Benton County, covering news where you live, Lauren Spencer, 5 News.
Officials say county staff have consulted with U.S. Fish and Wildlife, and they're following standard protocols in areas that may be a habitat for the protected species.
Well, new this morning, a UAMS program working to improve healthcare access in rural and underserved areas just received a $1.3 million grant to expand digital health services.
5 News reporter Jacob Luthi is live in Fayetteville. And Jacob, the Resource Center says not every patient might be right for telehealth. Can you explain more about what they said about this?
Yeah, good morning, Tiffany. Good morning, Joe. So there are a lot of patients that would be great for telehealth services, right? But at the end of the day, the center says that it's up to the primary care physician or whatever healthcare provider that is offering services to patients to be the ones to make that decision. And one of the things that the Resource Center does is help the physicians and help these healthcare providers figure out exactly which patients would be best suited for these telehealth services. For example, if there's one patient that, let's say, has been going to the doctor's office or this specific physician's office for a long time, the physician knows them, knows their charts, maybe understands that they have to travel 35, 40, almost up to an hour to go see them often. Those are the type of patients that would be best suited for these telehealth services, these long-established patients that the doctor's familiar with and understands that they have to go far distances to be able to see them. So those are kind of, especially more rural areas, those are kind of one of the patients that would be best suited for this program.
Well, Jacob, telehealth, that's something really that it really kind of continues to grow, right? Like we're seeing it getting bigger and bigger every time. So what does the future look like?
Yeah, you know, this is just an ever-growing, expanding field, right? And one thing that the program director says is things are changing in the healthcare field, right? Nurses are becoming in more high demand. More people are using digital services to be able to go see the doctor. So she says, yes, this was telehealth was really big, and digital health services was really big during the COVID-19 pandemic when people were going into the doctor's office less. They said, but it's just expanding now, and that's why this resource center is so important, and why this funding is so important to them, is because as this field expands, they too need to help primary care physicians, local doctors' offices figure out the best way that they can be reaching out to their patients virtually.
All right, thanks for that, Jacob. Well, still to come, senior year is packed with deadlines. 5 News reporter Emily Moss will join us in studio with expert Sarah Greenbank, the Director of Student Success at Arkansas Connections Academy, on how best to prepare students for their last year in high school. But first, a live look outside in Fayetteville. It's 7:38 this morning. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We're joined this morning by Sarah Greenbank, the Director of Student Success at Arkansas Connections Academy. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
And you're here just to help us kind of talk about high school seniors and parents as they get ready for the next step, that college step. And school just started, so it seems crazy to even really talk about. But
yeah.
You really have to get started early.
You do, yeah. You have to start getting prepared, and you have to start looking at what colleges you might want to apply for, what programs you're going to be looking at, your financial aid, getting all of that stuff set up.
Right. We definitely don't want to wait, I guess, until maybe the end of the year or even the middle of the year, right? A lot of those college deadlines to apply, they come pretty early.
They do. So colleges will, a lot of them will be starting to accept applications in October. The FAFSA opens up for this school year in October. So really in the first semester of this school year is when you want to start preparing for that.
Yeah, that's really early. And what about the ACT, SATs? I know some maybe already took those last year, but we could do it this year as well.
You can, and so we really, if a student is taking the ACT, we really encourage them to do it about 3 times because your score is going to change. Usually your first score is your lowest, and so you want to try again another time or 2 to make sure that you have the highest score represented for that school. So you do want to make sure that you take your final ACT at least about 2 months before the end of the application deadline for your college.
Okay. And let's talk about that score because a lot of colleges, you know, they'll look at that because there are some classes that if you take it, you make a high enough score, it could get you out of taking some classes you necessarily don't need.
Sometimes that is true. Also, there are sometimes other tests that the colleges will accept as well. Like there's the AccuPlacer or the Compass. Sometimes schools will take the ASVAB score, which is usually associated with military, but sometimes they will take that score as well. And then also checking with if you're interested in trying to advance, you know, sometimes you can check with that college and the testing center and see what tests are available. Sometimes there's CLEP tests where you can get out of some of your basic courses and get credit for that and move on.
When it comes to parents who are watching this morning and they're like, oh my goodness, I didn't realize I needed to start this already, but they might be a little bit scared to like talk to their kid about it because they don't want to add that pressure. Like, how do you recommend they approach that subject?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. So I think that it's just good for parents to just have open and candid conversations with their kids. A great way to start is, hey, have you thought about what you want to do after high school? College isn't always the option for everyone, but sometimes thinking about what kind of a career can help you figure out what post-secondary plan is going to be best for you.
Absolutely. And when it comes to scholarships, because you know the money to get there, that's really important. Of course, there's a FAFSA. They should apply for that, but any other scholarships or opportunities they should be looking at?
Yeah, absolutely. So Arkansas, the state of Arkansas has some specific scholarships like the Arkansas Challenge Scholarship, that Arkansas State Lottery Scholarship. There are some other ones through the Department of Higher Ed and that school, the Scholarship Application Management System. There are multiple opportunities on there for different kinds of areas of study, like if you want to go into teaching or healthcare or engineering or, you know, different kinds of things there. There are lots of different applications all in one place. Also, some schools are using the Common app, which is an app that you can like download on your phone, and you can do college applications and scholarship applications kind of in one place. Not every school is using it, but there's about 4 major universities here in Arkansas that are. And then also, you know, you can be looking in creative places, you know, doing those online searches and just looking for some of those. Sometimes you can find, you know, heritage-based scholarships, or if you have some kind of a special interest, sometimes you can find a scholarship based on that. And even those small amounts will add up. You know, anything that you can get is helpful.
Yeah, absolutely.
$50 off a book is $50 off a book.
That's right, yeah.
That is so true for sure. And whenever, say, you know, if scholarships maybe aren't an option, you fill out the FAFSA, maybe you don't get any money to go, but it's important to fill that out because that also opens up the door to student loans.
That's correct. So not only with the FAFSA that you can apply for Pell Grants, of course, and other kinds of government grants. But yes, that does also open up the door for those federal student loans. And so that can also be an award amount based on how much income and how much your tuition is at your school. So definitely, and if students need help with any of that, they should be going to their financial aid office on their campus.
I know when you're applying to scholarships, there's students out there that are like, well, I'm not the top of my class. I don't have a 4.0. I'm not going to try. Why is it important to still at least try to put those applications out there?
Yeah, so, you know, for scholarships, we know that there's lots of merit-based scholarships, but there are also scholarships out there that are, you know, interest-based or that have more to do with how much community service you're doing or what kinds of extracurricular activities that you're doing. And a lot of times scholarships and colleges are looking at the whole person and not just the academics totally, you know.
Gotcha. And it's good to start now looking for those opportunities because it takes a little while to find them and dig them all out and get pointed in all the different directions and gather them all in for sure.
It does, and those scholarship deadlines also start closing, you know, a lot of times they close by January or February, so you want to make sure you get those applications in before the deadline.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for being here with us today. We sure appreciate that.
Thank
All right,
you.
let's check in with Denny as a look at our weather. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, guys. Yeah, it looks like we're going to see a pretty nice day for us today. It is going to be a little bit muggy out there and a little bit warm, but much more comfortable than it has been recently. Here's a live look at traffic along I-40, the Arkansas-Oklahoma border. Maybe should have picked a better camera because it's not a lot of traffic down. Oh, there's a couple cars. There we go. I was going to say, usually I try to wait until some cars come in. It's like, Danny, why'd you pick that one? Well, just a nice shot there. Here's another nice shot here in Rogers where traffic's a little bit more busy along I-49 near the AMP. You can see a couple thin clouds out there. Otherwise, plenty of sunshine. 67 degrees currently in Rogers. That dew point is 66. So obviously a little bit lower like it usually is in Northwest Arkansas, the mid-60s where we can definitely tolerate, but still a little muggy, especially in the River Valley where those dew points are in the lower 70s. For today, those high temperatures a little bit more seasonal. You can see in the upper 80s and low 90s and kind of where we should be this time of year across the board. Mostly sunny this morning, maybe a few clouds during the afternoon. We'll have a light northeast breeze, so not anything too crazy, only about 5 to 10, and a very light rain chance, 10%. You notice Scott Covert posted it the other day, and yeah, the sunsets are now setting before 8 o'clock, so we're getting closer and closer to winter, and not quite feeling like that there, but getting a hint of fall next week. And the reason being is we have a cold front moving through that before then, still going to feel pretty warm, maybe close to 100 for that heat index in the River Valley, in the mid-90s for Northwest Arkansas. But on Sunday into Monday, we'll see that drop off where we'll feel less than 90 degrees everywhere and maybe even into the 70s on Tuesday. And one of the helpers or aids in this is because the dew points are going to be dropping over the next 5 days. So that cool front that dropped over the area yesterday, we are seeing that gradual decrease in humidity over the next 5 days. Again, it's going to be a couple degrees here and there, but eventually by the end of it, it's going to feel so much better out there. It's almost like you can breathe. It's like, that relief that finally it's not so sticky anymore. Now with that, we do have a very stray rain chance out there for today and really for the next few days, but it's going to be very, 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 very sparse. Right now we're seeing plenty of sunshine, and since that cold front is off to the southeast, again, we're not going to be seeing any activity that's going to stay well off to our south. And of course, Hurricane Aaron point a little bit better along the Atlantic seaboard. So for us, kind of in the middle, really between again, the Rocky Mountains and the Appalachians, there's really not a whole lot of activity going on, so we're dry. I'm not going to try to spell it. I tried last time. It just didn't work. So I'll just write a big D for, well, one for Danny, but two, it's just going to be dry, really in the center of the country. Again, can't rule out a stray shower or two, but most of us are going to be on the dry side of that, big D. Anyways, we go through the afternoon hours, see those puffy cumulus clouds develop, and you see these just southwest of McAllister. Again, it could be in our area as well. You notice that northeast to southwest flow. That's because of that northeast wind. So it could maybe see a stray shower or two. But again, look how very, very sparse it is. Maybe a brief downpour for about 20 or 30 minutes, then it'll dissipate. They'll continue through the overnight hours. Then for tomorrow morning, maybe could see some patchy fog in spots, especially if it does rain, just because the winds are going to be light. And that moisture is going to be kind of decreasing a little bit. So those temperatures are going to be condensing, maybe leading to some fog. So otherwise, over the next 4 days, again, it's just going to be warm, mostly sunny, pretty quiet. Again, what today's forecast is going to be pretty similar to the next 4 days. just a little bit less humid. Then on Monday, we'll see those temperatures drop because the cold front's going to swing through Sunday, but usually, again, sometimes it takes a day for it to really feel the effects of it. So temperatures will drop 10 degrees. It will also enter northwest flow. Basically, what that means is usually when we're in northwest flow, we'll see that those storm chances start to become more elevated, more organized, and sometimes you can get some stronger winds and heavier rains with that. For right now, the severe threats on the lower end, we'll certainly keep an eye on it, but I think the overall better news is we're finally getting those rain chances because a lot of times we've been pretty dry over the past month and a half and it's been very isolated. These should be more organized and better, and again, those high temperatures in the upper 70s and low 80s. We haven't seen that in quite a while, so some relief, some rain, all in all, a nice way to wrap up the month of August, and it looks like this will at least last into the start of September. I'm just so excited for the nicer temperatures. Joe?
I'm excited for those too. All right, now to a big story, a court case capturing the nation. The Menendez brothers, behind bars for more than 30 years, could soon earn their freedom. Eric Menendez will appear before California's parole board today. His brother Lyle will go before the board tomorrow. Now, he, along the brothers there, convicted, you'll remember, of murdering their parents in 1989. They were both sentenced to life in prison with no parole, but they were recently resentenced to 50 years to life earlier this year, giving them the possibility of parole. Now, the board will hear from family members, defense attorneys, and the DA's office coming up at 10:30 this morning. What better place to enjoy a jazz concert? No, it's not a parole hearing. I know that's on the screen, but it's in an airplane with a flight delay. Coming up, more on the pop-up concert and this viral moment. But first, let's take a live look outside at Bella Vista here at 7:52 this morning. We'll be right back.